Yeah, some interesting news reaching us regarding Jadon Sancho because AS Roma have made a permanent bid for the Manchester United forward. Remember, we spoke about him with Kave Solokol yesterday, saying that Besiktas had taken them to his hearts. The fans had taken over his Instagram, basically, 5.3 million people telling him they wanted him there. But this bid from AS Roma is understood to be worth around £20 million. Now, United are considering the offer. Borussia Dortmund and Besiktas are also interested. You may remember also that he was on loan, wasn't he, with Chelsea last season, and then they paid that £5 million fine a penalty, I should say, to Manchester United because they didn't want to make the deal permanent. So he didn't stay there. He's been told by United that he can now leave. He's got a year left on his current deal, but they do have an option to extend that as well. But now AS Roma have made a permanent bid for him and it's worth around £20 million. We'll keep you across that one.
5. Right, Mark. Developments on Jadon Sancho today. What's happened?
Yes, significant developments with regards to this one. We know that Manchester United want to get rid of these 5 players. Jadon Sancho into the last year of his Old Trafford contract, and there has been an offer lodged to Manchester United from Serie A side, Roma. Manchester United are currently considering the offer and deciding what they want to do. We know that there is interest from Borussia Dortmund as well, and we know that Jadon Sancho is on big money, so therefore, A, they want to get rid of him, they want to try and recoup back as much as they possibly can. He's on big wages as well, so that is one of the issues there. But yeah, that's the latest with regards to Jadon Sancho.
And what about the others? Any movement on any of the other 4?
No, Anthony, £80 million worth of investment, still at Manchester United. Again, another one on big wages, on loan at Real Betis. No formal offers as of yet. No other clubs really at the table, but Real Betis would love to take him. However, unfortunately, they can't afford him at the moment. We know that Rasmus Højlund, another player of interest to a number of Serie A clubs, AC Milan at the ones at the minute that are closest to potentially getting a deal done. His stance, I want to stay at Old Trafford, I want to play, I want to prove myself, and I want to get myself in that team. But at the minute, still talks ongoing. Looks like a lack of minutes is going to be his issue, so he's almost being forced, out of the club. Garnacho, Chelsea, it feels like it's only a matter of time before this one happens, but Chelsea just have to be a little bit clever with how much they spend compared to how much they receive and sell players on for. But we know that the talks continue. Tyrell Malacia, unfortunately, Tyrell Malacia fans, I can't say anything positive. There will be interest. It'll end up going somewhere, but at the minute, we don't know of anyone at the table.
I'm just hearing something from the producer that Højlund is open to a move to Milan now. We're just hearing that. Sky Italy reporting that, which is interesting.
Yeah,
so well, he's read the runes.
He's read the room. He's not going to get any game time. When you don't play minutes, for example, Jack Grealish not going to the Club World Cup for Man City, that's them basically saying, thanks, Jack, but we don't want you. Go and explore your options. Same for him. Lack of game time over the course of pre-season, and maybe recently he's decided, look, I just need to go and play games. That's going to be key.
Right, I want to rattle through this. You touched on this earlier. Let's talk.
Welcome back to Transfer Talk. Let's talk about Manchester United now then. We'll start, James, I think, with Rasmus Højlund because he trained yesterday, but he's been told by Manchester United that he can leave and go and play elsewhere. How is this likely to play out?
Well, AC Milan have held positive talks with United around the signing of Højlund. As yet, there's no agreement between the clubs. Højlund himself has still yet to decide if AC Milan is the right move for him or any move whatsoever is the right thing for him to do, because he's spoken frequently over the course of pre-season about wanting to fight for his place at Manchester United. We understand Milan are speaking to Højlund's representatives to find out if he'll be open to joining Manchester United before proceeding with trying to thrash out a deal with United. Milan would prefer a loan with an option to buy. United would want to do a permanent deal, or at least have a permanent element attached to a loan deal. We understand they consider offers of around £40 million. For what it's worth, what I think United would have loved to do if they weren't in a financial situation where they need to recoup money in terms of sales is give him the opportunity to go out on loan somewhere this season, because there is a real player there. We've not quite seen it in terms of goals, but there have been glimpses that this is a striker that could go on to be a really, really top striker in Europe. There's a reason why United signed him 2 years ago for around £70 million, because they've seen the potential there. That potential is still there, and actually he's excelled in European competitions, did really well in the Champions League the season before last. You just think, if he has a year playing at a club like AC Milan and then comes back to United, United readdress the situation. If United are in Europe next season, maybe they will need two strikers in the form of Šeško and Rasmus Højlund. I think there would be regrets if he goes permanently, because I do think he will go on and be a superstar somewhere else. I know that's a bold claim based on what he's done at the 2 years at United, but I do think there's a player there. There's not many number 9s, as we've learnt in this transfer window. That is why it costs so much to sign proven number 9s. I do think he needs a year of football where he is the number 9, which he won't be given this season at United. But I do think because of the situation United are in, having spent more money than they probably thought they would heading into this transfer window, there does need to be 1 or 2 big sales just so they can stay within the rules when it comes to profit and sustainability. Because, yes, the deadline is the 30th of June next summer to fit within the rules. But clearly, this is the best window for sales, because you don't want to be leaving it until January, and you do not want to be leaving it until the start of next transfer window to get your business done before the 30th of June, when every club knows that you need to make sales to fit within the rules.
Yeah, and well, that's the issue for Manchester United. It's not just Højlund, is it? There's a number of players, including, of course, Jadon Sancho, who they're still trying to find a home for. It doesn't seem like he's got a future at Manchester United, but what are his options at the moment?
It looks like there's a few options on the table, nothing concrete as of yet as things stand. It'd be nice when we don't have to talk about Jadon Sancho's future anymore, won't it? Because it feels like it's been a saga that's dragged on ever since he's been at Manchester United. But Besiktas are a club that have shown interest in signing him. Their club president is quoted as saying they'll do their best to sign him if Sancho wants to join. And once he emerged as a potential target, Besiktas fans, they've been voting with their thumbs on social media, because they've been leaving more than 5 million comments on his latest Instagram post demanding Jadon Sancho come to Besiktas, come and join us. Borussia Dortmund remain interested, no agreement there. There has been reports in the Times that Roma have submitted a bid to sign Sancho on loan. We know there has been interest from clubs in Italy and Saudi Arabia. United, as they want to do with Rasmus Højlund, would prefer a permanent deal. And it's more pressing with Jadon Sancho because his contract runs out next summer. There is the option of extending that by a further 12 months. The danger with that being, do you want to commit yourself to being in this situation again next summer, paying those wages for another season? So I don't think the possibility of a loan can be ruled out. But as far as United are concerned, he's not going to be playing for them this season. I know Ruben Amorim said that players will be reintegrated if their market value is not met. I don't think that's going to be the case with Jadon Sancho. I think they're hoping that somebody gets hold of Jadon Sancho this summer and they can end what has been a fairly unsavoury chapter. We started in 2021 with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as manager. He's now the manager of Besiktas, they being one of the clubs interested in signing him. Yeah, interesting little plot twist that. Man United have spent over £200 million pretty much all on attacking players, haven't they? So you look at their squad and you think there's probably still a few more holes that they could fill. Do you think that midfield is likely to be the next top priority? It looks like that would be the next thing on the list for United. Christian Eriksen departed in the summer, at the end of his contract. So there's a space in the squad for him. Clearly, Casemiro, how much has he got left in the tank? He actually showed a bit of a renaissance at the back end of last season when it did look like potentially his time at the very top level would come to an end, but he did well to put himself back into contention. For United, the priority is sales, but if they can get themselves in a situation where they know they're going to make the sales, then if a market opportunity presents itself to sign a player like Carlos Baleba, then they will look to act upon that. I do think this is a really, really difficult deal for United to do. I don't think at this moment in time it's going to be possible for United to do that. A, because they are struggling right now to get the money they need to be compliant and ensure they're well set to go after another player, because they've still got the likes of Alejandro Garnacho, Jadon Sancho, Antony still there, Tyrell Malacia too, and Rasmus Højlund. They need to have sales before they can really attack a real transfer like Carlos Baleba. And Brighton, we know how hard it's going to be to deal with Brighton, because they sold Moises Caicedo for £115 million. I'm not saying that's what they asked for Carlos Baleba, but if you ask Brighton fans, they'll say Baleba is maybe slightly further ahead in his development than Caicedo was when he departed for Chelsea. So you can see the sort of figures that Brighton will want. And at this moment in time, United surely aren't in a situation where they can be that aggressive with the bidding for Carlos Baleba. I think they're aware there's a number of issues with the United squad. Centre midfield, goalkeeper, but in one transfer window, you can't completely revolutionise the squad, because, yes, you can buy players, getting rid of players is very difficult as well. So they won't be able to do it all this summer, but if they can get some money with sales, then they can do pretty much most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, OK, let's get to Another big story that's just kind of popped up from nowhere in the last few days, and that is Gianluigi Donnarumma, who was a key part of the Paris Saint-Germain club finally getting their hands on a Champions League trophy this year. But could Italy's number one be on his way to the Premier League this summer? Former England goalkeeper David Seaman is a big fan of Donnarumma, who effectively has been told he has no future at PSG. And Seaman has highlighted two clubs who he feels would really benefit from getting his signature.
He's proven how good and how important he was, especially last season when you saw some of the saves that he made even against Arsenal in the Champions League. You know, he was the reason that they got through, and then you go to the final and he has a fantastic game there. Goalkeeper that's proven quality at the highest level as well, you know, because we also saw how he broke England's hearts in the Euros as well.
So David there name-checking Manchester United and Chelsea. At the moment, though, it's Manchester City who've been linked most with Donnarumma, although City say that they want Ederson to stay and remain their number one. But why wouldn't a few other Premier League teams right now be heavily linked with Donnarumma? He's a Champions League winning goalkeeper.
He is, and you look at a lot of the top six clubs in the Premier League, or so-called big six clubs, and you look at the goalkeepers they have there right now, and you would think that Donnarumma would be a significant upgrade on what they have right now. But just because you could get Donnarumma for a cut price fee because he's got 1 year left in his contract, there are still very sizable wages to be considered here because he signed for PSG as a free agent after his contract ran out at AC Milan. So the salary he is on right now is very, very significant. And you look at teams that could do with an upgrade. David Seaman spoke about Chelsea and Manchester United. Well, let's look at Chelsea. Their focus in terms of their transfer strategy, yes, they'll look for market opportunities, but it's tending to focus on younger players who they'll sign on a low base salary over a long period of time. And it's heavily incentivised. If you play, then you'll get paid much more money. If you're not playing, then you'll be on that base salary. Could they get Donnarumma to fit within that wage structure? I'm not so sure. They did try to sign Mike Maignan from AC Milan earlier on this summer because they felt there was a good market opportunity there. He was 29, turns 30 this summer, but he wouldn't have been on the wages which you'd expect Donnarumma would be asking for. As for Manchester United, we do know that they want to upgrade in the goalkeeper department. There's reports that they tried to sign Emi Martinez on loan from Aston Villa. Aston Villa very swiftly turned that down. But for United, they simply can't afford, you'd think right now, to be paying sizable wages. They've been stung in the past when they've done that, with the likes of Anthony, Jadon Sancho, we've just spoken about as well. But you would think all clubs right now in the Premier League would be looking at this situation with one eye thinking, can we make the numbers work? Because he will make a huge difference to whichever club he joined, based on what he did in particular in the Champions League last season.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? I mean, you might have to pay a lot of wages, but because PSG have let it be known that he's surplus to requirements, surely a lot of clubs are looking at that and saying, well, we can get him for a real cut price fee because we know he wants to go and we know that PSG don't want him.
And for PSG, they do not want to be in a situation like they were last summer with Kylian Mbappe, where you invest so much money in the player only to see them leave for absolutely nothing. And he's on such significant wages there, it's going to cost them millions, more than £10 million his wages up until the end of May, June, when his contract expires. And it looks like he's going to be training on his own. He's not even going to be on the bench. That's a lot of money to spend on a player not doing anything whatsoever for you. In France, they call it the loft. He'll be training in the loft with the bomb squad. There's a few players there right now as well. PSG don't want to let him go for free. So, yes, there would be a cut price option there, you'd think, and clubs will be looking at what they can do in the final days of the transfer window, because as the days tick down, that fee that PSG will want, it'll be there right now, but a few days' time it'll be right down the bottom there. But there is the wages to consider, but you can understand why every club is looking at this right now thinking, if we can get him in, then this could change our season from a good one into a really, really good one.
Yeah.
And Donnarumma seemingly confirmed those reports as he posted a farewell message to PSG fans on social media on Tuesday. Unfortunately, someone has decided that I can no longer be part of the group and contribute to the team's success, he said. I am disappointed and disheartened. PSG have pushed Donnarumma to the exit door after being unable to agree a new contract, which expires next summer. It was confirmed on Monday that he had been axed from the squad for the Super Cup final against Spurs in Italy on Wednesday. His impending departure has attracted the attention of several European giants, including Manchester City and Manchester United, although the Red Devils are not thought to be in the race for his signature. Pep Guardiola's side are considering a move for the Italian, with Galatasaray interested in Ederson. City have already signed goalkeeper James Trafford for €31 million this summer, and the returning star is primed to be the club's new number one. PSG are likely to want around €40 million for Donnarumma, who has also attracted interest from Real Madrid and clubs in Saudi Arabia. The goalkeeper, who reportedly earns around €200,000 a week at the League One club, thanked his teammates and fans in his message. "I hope to have the opportunity to look the fans at the Parc des Princes in the eyes one more time and say goodbye as it should be done," he added. "If that doesn't happen, I want you to know that your support and affection mean the world to me, and I will never forget it." Donnarumma has made 161 appearances for PSG since joining the club from AC Milan back in 2021 on a free transfer. He has won 4 League One titles, 2 French Cups, 3 French Super Cups and the Champions League while at the club. Donnarumma has also enjoyed success with Italy, having helped his nation be crowned European champions back in 2021.